Thumbelina by Hans Christian Andersen tells us to be kind. It can be hard to be kind and very easy to become greedy, especially when we are feeling sad. It's important to not only take care of ourselves, but also open our eyes to reach out and lend a hand. There's always a way to help. Enjoy the story! Once upon a time, a tiny maiden named Thumbelina lived in a garden. She made her home under a flower. Her bed was a walnut shell, and she had a rose leaf for a blanket. Thumbelina loved living in the garden. All of the bumblebees and dragonflies were her friends. One night, a toad crept through the garden, saw Thumbelina sleeping, and thought, "What a pretty little wife she will make for my son." Picking up the bed with Thumbelina in it, the toad hopped away. When Thumbelina awoke, she found herself on a lily pad far out in the stream. Two large toads were staring at her. The older one told Thumbelina, "Meet my son. He will be your husband." "Croak, croak," her son said, tipping his hat. Thumbelina couldn't bear to think of marrying the toad. As the mother and son swam away, she began to cry. Luckily, fish had been listening nearby, and they felt sorry for Thumbelina. They sent her lily pad floating downstream. Thumbelina sailed past many towns, finally reaching a beautiful country. There she wove a bed from blades of grass, drank the dew from the leaves, and ate the honey from the flowers. When the first snow came, Thumbelina took shelter with a field mouse. One day, the mouse took Thumbelina to call on a very rich neighbor, the mole. As they walked through a tunnel to his grand underground home, they came across a dead swallow. Thumbelina was very sad, but the mole just said, "How glad I am not to be a bird." He ordered his workers to cover up the hole in the tunnel roof through which the swallow had fallen. That night, Thumbelina could not sleep. Taking a blanket, she crept out of bed to the tunnel. "Farewell, dear one," she whispered. Spreading the warm blanket over the swallow's cold body, she laid her head on the bird's breast. But what do you think she heard then? The thump of a heartbeat! What happened? Daisy, you're kind of interrupting the story right now. Okay, let's just get on with the story. The bird was not really dead, only frozen, and the blanket had warmed him back to life. All that winter and on into spring, Thumbelina secretly visited the swallow, bringing him food and drink. Then one day, she rushed to him crying, "The mole wants to marry me!" Knowing that Thumbelina didn't want to marry the mole any more than she had wanted to marry the toad, the swallow said, "Fly away with me." Thumbelina quickly agreed. She climbed on his back, and away they flew. After many days, the bird set Thumbelina down gently in a field of flowers. As tiny people who lived among the blossoms rushed up and welcomed her, Thumbelina felt warm and happy. Finally, she had come home.
That's the end, kids.
We hope you liked this fairy tale, and remember, spread kindness.
Stay tuned for the next read aloud.
See you later.